I don't want you to have to die to learn. You can understand things conceptually. You don't have to experience it. Two things, right? Do people even help and teach you that that's what you're supposed to be doing? I don't know that they do. That's one thing. And then the other part is it's an incremental thing. Like a lot of times I feel like people think that you don't have the answers. Like, whoa, no, I didn't say I had the answer for all time. That's not how this works.
Not how
It's
this works,
incremental.
right? We are all learning as we go. We're putting pieces together where
Yeah.
we're learning from mistakes. We're calibrating. None of us have a perfect play-by-play of this is what you need to do. You do this, you'll have this perfect result every time. It's like that is not a rational expectation for human life. That's not what we're doing here on Earth.
Nah. But then it goes back to, has anyone helped you understand that?
Right.
Because I guess if you leave a kid out in the wilderness, they would never get to that point unless they had they was super, super wise and probably like 80, 90 years old. But if you got a wealth of knowledge to pull from over thousands or hundreds of years, you can have all of that and still nobody would pass down this knowledge to help you. Just like a lot of what we're seeing now. This is the thing. That's the thing that kills me with the kids, especially black kids. Like they are effectively being retarded. Somebody is producing retarded children. That they're making them retarded, like on purpose, because they're forcing them not to have to be objective about themselves.
Crazy.
Everything is like I already have someone to blame for an issue. It was a light switch flip for me when I saw Tony Penn, Dr. Tony Penn, and he was doing that talk in D.C. about Black humanism. He was like, "What's the difference between Black humanism and just humanism?" And he was like, "Black people had a different response to the Enlightenment," and I was like, "Oh shit! Oh, they just rejected reason. They thought reason was racist." It just drew such a bold, broad line for me because I'm like, nah, I really like reason. I don't really care what anybody else thinks about this. like, I want to be objective. I want to understand reality for what it really is, so I can adjust and have a better life.
And everybody who's
That's what I want.
successful and everybody who moved things forward, like black or white, they did. They accepted reason, they looked at reality, and they used that to calibrate things until they were more successful. And so I always find that very frustrating when people start talking. To say people rejected reason is too broad a brush. I'm like, that's just a generality that you could say when you see someone actively making terrible choices, you're like, this person rejected reason. And you see a significant part of culture, like, yep, they did it. That's not working for them. There is a system that is rewarding bad behavior. Okay, I could see how that could happen and how that could perpetuate itself. Fair. But, the solution is always the same: to confront the system, point out where it clearly is failing people, and then offer them another way out. It's like, what if you didn't just fuck up the whole time? What if everything wasn't blamed on somebody else? What if you took back some of your own, quote unquote power and just had the option to make better choices? What if you could finally reach your goals in a real way and had control over that? Wouldn't you want that? Wouldn't you want not to wait for the people who hate you to be the only ones to gatekeep this thing that you say you want?
I mean, I understand that. The thing that troubles me is because there's definitely going to be a section of society that's going to have to deal with. It's like when I was a kid, my father had the saying like, "You don't think shit stink." You know what I mean? You don't think doo-doo stink. And this is effectively like people who you can't really educate them on, hey, you don't want to go that way. That's not the right way. But you can't give them reasons why. They're just like, nah, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, well, you're going to have to die to learn. It's
It's
not,
true.
I don't want you to have to die to learn. I don't want you to have to lose a limb to learn. Like,
Yeah.
you
The
can
risk is too high.
understand things conceptually. You don't have to experience it. Those things.
Sometimes you can learn from other people's mistakes. You don't have to make them all yourself.
The thing that bothers me is that it affects the Black culture disproportionately.
Yeah. I mean, the people who have the least amount of resources have the least amount of margin. They don't get to make a bunch of mistakes to figure it out. They get 1 or 2 chances. If you squander that, it's over. And so in that sense, there are a lot of Black people who are still poor, who are still in a significant oppression way, or at least they're significantly depressed state, where it's like, okay, you don't have the resources to guess. You don't have the resources to just operate on wishful thinking. That's not a successful strategy for anyone. And since you have nobody else to pick up the slack for you, yeah, you need to learn from other people who've tried it and tried it this way. But that requires you to do the research. It requires you to actively be open to listening to another way. And not everybody gets there. Not everybody stays there. And so therefore, there's only a certain amount of people you can help. There are people who are actively looking for answers, who are trying things and failing and trying things and failing. Like, I wish I could stop failing. I'm like, and when they finally hit rock bottom, when they finally get desperate enough, sometimes they listen. Sometimes they're ready for another, suggestion as far as, have you tried?
Think of it like this. Let's say reason, because there's a continuum, right?
Right.
Because like you said, it could be taken the wrong way, what you said before, like everybody who's successful uses reason. But people, when they're doing the successful thing, they typically are using reason at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times they flip-flop from using reason to just total irrationality.
Right. No one's 100% or absolutely one thing all the time.
But that's a big deal though, right? Because I don't like to talk in black and white terms, but if I would have used black and white terms, I think there's a lot of white people who can use reason irrationally. Like it's a part of their instinct. It's almost like, so think of it like a dogmatic. I think of it like from a religious perspective, from hey, this is how you do things. And they just like, all right, well, this is how you do things. They're not really thinking of it in depth. They thinking like, well, okay, of course I need to cut my grass, do this, that, and the other, pay my bill. Some people pay their bills because it's something that is conscious in them, but some people just like, oh, this is what we do. This is how it's done.
What we do. These are the rules we
But that even those actions, but those actions also can bring you some sort of success just by being like embedded in your culture.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
copy the culture.
Yeah, but you can pay a cost if you don't have that embedded in your culture to the point that it's past the threshold to where it's still you can be seen as an individual and as a group of having good lives. That's like that's a thin slice, but that thin slice can really take you from good life to bad life.
Real quickly. Yeah. I think there's a whole lot of traditions that have been passed down that are functional in the sense of like, this is very practical and pragmatic. It's going to keep you alive. If you grow up learning all these things and these are your customs and they're doing the things that keep you alive, that's huge in comparison to people who haven't even figured it out yet, or people who reject all these traditions and just say, I'm just going to do whatever I feel like doing throughout the time. Like, well, people have tried that. It didn't work out great for them. We found some things that work better than others. You can learn this whole new way of life if you want and, receive these benefits or reject it and have to make it up for yourself. And sometimes it'll work and sometimes it'll be much, much worse. But yeah, the margin for error is huge.
Yeah. But it's disappointing because it's just that slim. It's just that slim. It's not a question of degree. It's a question of direction. Because a lot of times you'll hear people say something like, well, if you do that, well, how much is that going to help? Like, wait. Help is good.
Right.
When something helps, it's a good thing. Because people will defeat themselves like, well, I could do this thing and it would help. And then they start projecting about how much is it going to help. Like, yo, you need help.
Right.
You should start with help to get help.
It's like, this may not be the best option or the perfect option. It may not. But right now, you need an option. And this is here as a rung up the ladder. Is it the only rung? No. Is it something that's going to move you closer toward your expressed goal? It's worked that way for everybody else. You should try it. It's worth trying just from that portion.